AR Poet 1111. Now he was getting out there with some woke stuff about. I'm careful with that woke statement. I go lit maybe. I'd say something about blue shifted maybe, but I would have a physics on that, and it would be hubbled out. And so what that means over to the index of 1111 means those kids. There's a note about reading inside of there. I feel practical mechanic learning in terms of here's an application and a resume works well. I think it works way better than the interface of the computer version of it, because you can come in with a resume with a full-on mask app and say this is actually, a job name, saw programs, AR-15, this is the M1 drills, the 100% at 600 yards. In this distance, you can do shifting XYZ stuff that works that way, because that would tang that plate real good in terms of, yes, you have to be able to do this, but given formats today, there's certain applications where it's almost like by reading fiction or something that isn't that machine quantum physics learning process, which is what AR-15 drills, the inventory cabinet, the whole warrior version of, well, this is gravity here in this index. That you can do different gravity. Any gravity you do, I can then adjust inside of my gravity, because I know gravity. If you're going to be the shadow problem, I'd have it all figured out. Even if it was full on entropy and I spread the whole thing into an emulsion or density difference in my beaker. My graduated cylinder, I use them to catch sentinel tears, buddy, because I exist, and they cry sometimes about it. They don't do it often, and it's hard to catch them do it. Anyway, fluoroammonium acid. It's hard to get that. Woke kids, they don't get that version of why the practicality of the engineering of that little bit of salt inside of the recipe makes all the difference, and the kicking, obviously salt's black powder. A lot of this isn't done all the way, and most people have holes in their entire entropy. Generally, I'm working the map version here, a lot of simulator time, which gives you a competitive advantage comparatively to somebody who doesn't have it in that form done, or can parallel multiple of those spectrums over. This is a lot of things. You have to make a lot of decision. Information director of information technology right here. So tech is crazy like that when you think about it as a wholesome idea. Obviously, military tech is an all index on all the businesses, because tax goes up, inflation, need it for national security. Who's paying that? You think Biden's paying for the National Guard out in front? Probably not, and therefore an area differential, which over a time downstream from a rainstorm on the forecasting obviously has a Dirac equation based to some of the nature of what that equation is. And that's pretty woke. We're talking about some Oppenheimer stuff, Valentine Rabbit, multi-form hand impressing the prince, right? That's my security detail now, because I'm math on engineering about what is causally moving, around here, and that's what I wanted it to be in that form. Otherwise, Hubble, right? That's the name of that thing. Yeah, and the way that balance here is kind of way your machine having gears needs a worm gear system based on. Oh yeah, I know, brother. And if it happened on the range, guess what? You're probably not going to pass the board over at Nobel about what IH was, and Planck's shortest distance in time space, right? If kind of these two things were an entropy of 0, 1, just personality types on a system like any of the other in the full range of spectrums, it's still the same element. And sometimes certain elements have to be housed certain ways. They have certain compositions which affect certain ideas and principles, relative topics next to each other, their position, how you tone through it with physics on indexes, making sure that you're on that sheet, that paper is like all that math right here, and I'm N1/2 in the parallel with it. Hemingway, for who the bell tolls into the breach once more, my dear monkeys, and just start smashing your face off the typewriter. I can make schematics out of. Something happened here in the class. Energy was done. It moved, it wiggled, it did something. We could graph it. I don't think we should quite treat it that way in this area. What do you, is there any big gorillas that have a problem with the methodology? All right, we'll start with that. Come on.